Hey, good evening. This is Ross Nova. Today's video, I thought let's just go live and just kind of watch the protest. And I'll make some comments throughout the video. A couple of things I want to mention is what I strongly believe is that agents need to have warrants for arrests for certain individuals, right? They can't just show up to any business, school, or anywhere in Minnesota and just start discriminating people and going after everybody and anybody that may not appear American, right? I think you had to have a list of people. And I think they do, but I've heard otherwise. I've heard people are getting picked up at randomly, even though they have their papers or they try to prove that they are citizens, but they get taken away anyway. So I'm not 100% sure what's exactly is going on. Like I said, I would like to believe, I could be wrong, but I like to believe that they have a list. Oftentimes, from what I heard, is the judges have a list of people who did not appear in court, right? They had 2-3 years to make an appearance when they came here legally. They did not appear. So therefore, the ICE agents now have that list and are looking for all these people where they may know where they live, where they work, and so they're targeting certain places where these people may be. That's what I like to believe. You know, is that what's happening? I'm not sure, but at the same time, like I said, we need to have those questions answered. It's really, really hard to get a good picture of how the ICE agents work because there's too much yelling, there's too much false information, there's too much cherry picking information. It's really hard to judge exactly what's going on. I see tensions are running extremely high and to the point where there's no room to talk, peacefully, right? I would love to sit down with an agent and just ask basic questions. How do you pick these people out? Do you have a list? All these questions I have because supposedly people stop showing to work, right? I know people, that are in construction, right? They just stop working. So the businesses are short-staffed because they don't have certain immigration people working because they're fear for their lives, right? They fear they'll be deported. So I would like if ICE agents make it very clear who they're after, because if they're here on work visa, they shouldn't have any issues, right? Because ICE agents should have a clear list of who needs to be picked up and who doesn't, right? So I don't know, it's crazy, but at the same time, let's say they do have that list where it's very black and white, right? These are the people we're looking for. These are the people that failed to show up to court. These are the criminals, known terrorists, known, that have done crime, and there's warrants for their arrests, right? If there's a clear black and white, then we need to make sure we let the agents get in, get those people out of there, and make the community safer. Now, I've been to one of these protests, which I'll probably show you a video of me in one of those protests. There's a lot of yelling. And oftentimes I feel like people are saying stuff without really meaning or really understanding what they're saying. They're just yelling stuff without thinking through what they're exactly saying. Oftentimes I see them approaching agents way too close than they should be, and that cannot happen. I say a good rule of thumb, 30 feet. In other words, if you are on the sidewalk and they're on the far street on the other side, that's a good rule of 30 feet. It's safe. ICE agents see you as not a threat, and they'll keep their space back, right? Remember, you have phones. You're free to record. You're free to protest. You're free to do many things. but does not mean you should interfere with agencies that are trying to do their job, right? So 30 feet, if ICE agents are on one side of the street, on one side of the sidewalk, you guys, all the protests should be on the other side of the street on that sidewalk. I think that's a really good, safe distance, right? You have your phones, you can Zoom, right? Phones are very high advanced these days. You can easily zoom and capture a lot of stuff. It's only 30 feet, right? So I do support, protest. I do support recording. I do support the freedom of protest, all these things. You can do that, but we have to do it in a safe and responsible way. As an ICE agent or any type of agent or law enforcement, it can be very overwhelming for them to do their jobs. And we don't need to create that environment for them, okay? It's always stressful as it is, We don't need to add more to that. So let's just watch this video for 5-10 minutes, and I'll pause it and explain what I think should or should not happen, just to see if you agree with me, Yelling shame, like, what does that actually do? They're there to do a job, right? See right here, that's way too close. You should not be able to reach out and touch the agent. If you are, you're putting yourself at risk and the agent at risk as well. You have to understand, the agents don't know if you have a weapon, right? Because people have thrown water bottles, ice, snow, just stuff at them. And they do get hurt too. See right here? This should not happen between protesters and agents. You should not be touching them. That's a big no-go. Right here, way too close. You're getting up to his face. They have to push the protest away for safety, right? This is what I call stupid protest. Okay, you have the right to protest, you just don't have the right to interfere in their business. I mean, why? You're sitting on the ground, right on the line where you should not be, okay? Why are you wearing goggles, right? What are you afraid of, right? Why are you afraid to reveal yourself to the world, right? You have a face mask, you have goggles, you have all these things to hide your identity. Why? If you protest, you should believe in what you protest. You should be able to show your face. Now, kicking that canister right there, oh my gosh, that's a big no-go. That is wrong on so many levels. That's tear gas, I believe, right? Like, I respect, protesters, but I believe oftentimes, to protest is to sort of put yourself at risk because you believe in something greater than yourself, right? Yet, these protesters, they can just go home later on, right? There's really no, they're hiding themselves. They're not really, they think they're tough, but if those agents, those agents can overrun that area very quickly and they can arrest all these people very quickly. But they don't, because they know you have the right to protest, right? I think I've seen this already, this video. It's the same video they have on the loop, I believe. Again, if you were 30 feet, this wouldn't happen. You wouldn't have to worry about gas or tear gas. or pepper spray in this case. And water doesn't really help that much. In fact, it might even irritate it more. I think it's kind of ridiculous. The only way for it to heal or is just time, you know. In fact, I think water makes it even worse because if you have pepper spray above your face and that comes down into your eye, it'll irritate it more. Once you hit with pepper spray or mace, any type of that stuff, it's over. You know, call it quits. I think it's kind of sad, really, if you ask me. Like, I respect protesters. I want people to protest, but people keep pushing that line, getting up to their faces. If I went up to your face right now, like this close, like you would not feel very comfortable. Well, same thing with the agents. They would not feel very comfortable if you're up on their face. They have to kind of push you back to give that space. Because if you have a weapon, they have to react very quickly, push you away if they feel threatened, right? If you're this close, they can react accordingly, right? So we have to give them the respect, okay? We have to give them that space. You know, 30 feet, I think, is a very good rule of thumb. You know, ICE agents on one side of the street and the protesters on the other side of the street. I drive trucks, right? And sometimes I'll stop, getting unloaded. While I'm unloading, I'll watch YouTube videos and stuff because I might be parked there for a half hour or so, and I'll look at live videos, right? And this is like at 11 o'clock in the morning, 1 o'clock in the afternoon. I'm like, why are there protests that early, Monday through Friday? Should they not be at working? Like, we have so many protests out there, yet, like, I'm just confused. Like, if I want to protest, I have to wait until after 4 or 5 o'clock to protest, right? Because I'm actually working. And so I wonder, how many of these people don't have a jobs, or do they take time off from work? I personally can't afford to take time off of work because I have mortgage, I have to pay. I have to pay for food. I have to pay utilities. I have to pay off my credit card. Like, I have so much stuff that I have to take care of. I can't just take time off of work. So I'm wondering, how are these people, see, I'm like kidnapped, being murdered. These guys are very patient, And they're all wearing body cams too, which is really good. This is just way too close. And the thing is, they're trying to have understanding, right? They're trying to have sympathy, and I'm sure they do, but they're there to do a job, right? Which is to protect the facility. See, these guys back there, they're the smart ones. They have distance, right? Their lives are not in danger. The agents' lives are not in danger because of that big gap, right? This guy right here, way up against the face of the agent. I hate that. I personally hate that. As a soldier, when people get up to my face, I really hate that. Even if I was not a soldier, someone comes up to your face and starts yelling to where a spit pretty much, is on your face. That's not a good feeling. See, I like this though. It's peaceful talk, like that. No yelling. None of them want to be here. At least for him. Compared to this person. This person is yelling. See? Two different types of people. One that yells, the one that just has a normal conversation. I would love to sit down and have a normal conversation with these agents. I'm sure they're very good people, you know, on both sides.
Democracy isn't a bunch of thugs coming out here throwing tear gas in my face and beating me up. That's not democracy.
Does he understand that those agents are there for a reason? That that's their job, right? The higher ups, chain of command, they tell them they need to be there, right? So you yelling at them does nothing, right? It does nothing. Oh, see, Karen. That's Karen. Hello, Karen. With a whistle. Imagine a whistle being blown right at your face. Why bring a whistle?
A mother was murdered yesterday.
They don't care about human life? I beg to differ. They do care. But their job is to protect the facility. Make sure you don't overrun that area and start causing damage to structural things.
A mother was murdered yesterday.
Mother was murdered. Okay. Do they think they don't know that? That's not why they're there. Why are we getting angry at them? That's what I don't understand. Why are we getting angry at them?
6-year-old son. Your son was named Emerson. A mother was murdered yesterday. Your soul needs to grapple with the fact that you murdered a mother yesterday. Her son
I
is 6
swear.
years old. His name is Emerson. Your name was
Definitely a Karen. Look, does he think he cares?
He doesn't have a murder.
He's there to do a job, okay? To keep you away from the building. Use whatever you say to them doesn't affect them. Doesn't affect their jobs. They're not going to just say, "Oh, you're right. I'm just going to put my weapons down and just walk away." No. These guys are professional. They're just standing there peacefully. That's probably the relief right here. And relieve these guys because I'm sure they're tired and sick of hearing the protesters yelling at their face. Man, those guys must be tired of standing there for hours on end, listening to all this yelling. I think for now it's mostly peaceful. See, this is a little bit too close. I think where the camera people are is fine. It's crazy that I have the gas masks, you know. Police. Nice that you're wearing a shirt or stuff. Saying fuck you to the agents, like, seriously, what does that do? I personally don't understand it. Where is that woman that's speaking? I wanna see her face. See, all those whistles, they're so annoying. See, that's okay. See, recording, safe distance. This is okay, right? They're not approaching the agents. There's safe distance. Agents aren't rushing forward. Protesters aren't rushing forward. This is beautiful. This is good. This is called protest. Now she's encroaching. Okay, a little bit too close. You do have the zoom option. Don't forget. Oh, there's that Karen. You murder people. You make it sound like that's all they do is just go around murdering people. There's Karen. Hey, how about you show your face? Show me your face. Oh yeah, yeah. Very professional protester right there. I bet you practice that in front of the mirror. You killed it. You killed it. See, getting a little close, but they're not yelling, not spitting, they're not doing anything crazy, so that's good.
Embarrassed of you, and they always will be.
And they're about to retreat back a little bit. It's calmed down a little bit. Well, just kind of gave you a little bit of my thoughts on this. Like I said, there you go. Like I said, if you stay 30 feet or so, agents are on one side of the sidewalk and the protesters on the other side of the sidewalk. You have the zoom option on your phone. You can still yell if you really want to. I think 30 feet is a good, safe space. I think both parties can relax a little bit, right? I think it is kind of sad, I've seen, where protesters literally spit in agents' face. That is such a no-go, right? Throwing water bottles, ice. I've seen cars, agents' cars being blocked off completely. Their cars are being hit by, being banged with their hands or other objects and stuff like that. Like, we cannot do that kind of stuff. That's not called peaceful protest. That's like antagonizing the situation to worse, right? I think it's okay if you ask permission. Hey, Mr. ICE agent, can I approach you? I have a couple questions for you. Be very respectful, They'll be happy to answer whatever questions they can, what questions they're able to answer, But to yell at their face, they just turn off their ears. Like, there's no point in talking to you if you yell, That we need to have that conversations between the civilians and the agents, law enforcement, anybody in law enforcement, not just ICE agents, law enforcement, sheriffs, anybody like that. We have to have that peaceful talk. That's the only way we can reach them, or have understanding, because, like I said, most of those people, they don't want to be there, and I'm sure as a protester, you don't want to be there, So I think if you just peacefully talk to one another, peacefully march, hold your signs, yell whatever you want at 30 feet, with distance. That way the agents can feel somewhat safe. They don't have to be on edge. You don't have to have the pepper spray on your face, So be safe out there, protest, That's it. Thank you.